Welcome again, and this of course is OZC Cargyle II, and we're moving on to the next step in the Learning Piano for Songwriters and Composers program. In this video, we're actually going to begin reading and writing music with understanding the staff. The staff, which has been the standard palette for music notation for hundreds of years, is basically what we use to write our music out on and read our music from. So this is a staff. It is composed of 5 lines and 4 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines, and the 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces in between those lines. And basically the way this works is each line and each space will represent a different note or pitch. And in the case of the piano, it will represent a particular key, a specific key that corresponds to that note, pitch, or letter name. So let's demonstrate this here. In this video, you won't actually get a chance to see me play the piano, but we have our virtual keyboard here to help us out. So you'll definitely want to pay attention to what's going on up there. And then down here we have what is called a grand staff, 2 sets of 5 lines and 4 spaces. The top staff will be for the right hand and the bottom staff will be for the left hand. And here on the top, we have a symbol here at the beginning. This is actually a treble clef. Okay, so you remember our right hand plays all the notes for the treble, which are the notes above middle C. So there we have a treble clef, also called a G clef, and this is our treble staff. Below that, for the left hand, we have the bass staff, and there's a bass clef, also called F clef, and it corresponds to all the notes below middle C. Okay, so let's begin here by actually playing some notes here. I'm going to start with the first one. There's E, and if you look on our virtual keyboard, you can see that there's a little black note head on the E key. So that means we played it. And there it is on the staff. Our very first line on the treble staff. I'm going to play another line. G. Okay, so you see we skipped F. We went E, skipped F, the space, and then G. So there F is as the space. And then we have A, which is the space above that. Let's actually go through all of the lines and spaces for the treble staff. So we start with middle C, which is actually what's called a ledger line, a little line in between the note that you can see there. We use ledger lines to notate notes that are off of the staff. Then we have D, the first space under the staff. Then we actually get onto the staff, E, F, G, A, B, C, they're up an octave from middle C, D, E, and F. So those are all of the lines and spaces for the treble staff. They're moving up just as the notes moved up. Now let's do the lines and spaces for the bass, starting with middle C. Again, same middle C as the treble, but now it's just notated above the bass because we're going to be moving down. B, A, G, F, E, D, C, the octave below middle C, B, A, and G. So those are all of the lines and spaces for the bass moving down, just as the notes move down, okay? And for those who are wondering, this little symbol here at the beginning, the 4/4, is actually what's called a time signature. And these are what are called quarter notes. The time signature and the quarter notes are what we use to basically measure the rhythms for how these notes are going to be played. And we'll get into that when we get into counting rhythms. For now, let's just memorize the names of the lines and spaces for the treble and bass staves. Okay, so we're going to go back here to our staff. And our very first staff, the treble staff here, will begin with middle C there. And then you have the lines above that. And then we have our first space there, D, just below the staff. And then we have the spaces there. There are different methods for memorizing the lines and spaces on the staff. I'm sure you'll hear the acronyms out there. Every good boy does fine for the lines on the treble staff. And then if you see the spaces here, Spell the word face going up, F-A-C-E. And those are nice little devices. Although I think the most effective method, which is actually the method I teach to my students, is actually chanting the lines and spaces going up and down. So E, G, B, D, F, F, D, B, G, E. So you can definitely do that. And I find that it's much faster. You know, print this out from the website. It'll be there. And chant it up going up and down 20 times and it'll stick. And then once you think you've got it, quiz yourself on a blank staff there. Okay, so those are the treble lines and spaces. Moving on to the bass staff. But you'll see again here at the top, then you've got the lines moving down, and then the B, space on top of the bass staff, and then the spaces moving down. And you hear the acronyms for these as well. Good boys do fine always for the bass lines. And all cows eat grass. But as I found, the easiest method for memorizing it in a relatively short period of time is just to print this out, post it on your wall, say going up and down 20 times, and then quiz yourself once you think you've got it. Because one last thing here, a couple things actually. All of these lines and spaces for the treble and the bass here represent the white key notes. What we're actually going to do here is demonstrate how the notes are written out, notated for the accidentals, the sharps and flats. So I'll start here with a flat, E flat. There you see me playing E flat on the virtual keyboard, and there it pops up with a little flat symbol in front of it. And then we have F sharp there, and there's F sharp on the first space there. We've got the line and space there with a little sharp symbol in front of it. And sometimes you'll see, a lot of times you actually see the chords. Okay, so there's a C major chord, and then we just stack the notes up just like that. And you'll notice there that there's another little symbol there, the natural symbol on the E. That's used to cancel the flat that was notated with the E. And you can notate the music continuing going up just like that. And those are the chords there, and the music will be notated out with the rhythms. Like I said again, we'll go over the rhythms in the next lesson. But that's basically all you need to know about the staff. Let's take a look one more time here at our staff. 5 lines, 4 spaces. Treble staff, there's your lines and spaces. You want to memorize those. And the bass staff lines and spaces. All right, so let's move on to the next step of the program.